GTN Radio. Hear the difference.
Now the news. I'm Shane Bigham. General Secretary Xi Jinping of the Communist Party of China's Central Committee has stressed the important role of the party's internal regulations in maintaining the centralized and unified leadership of the CPC Central Committee. In an instruction to a national meeting, Xi Jinping said the regulations are vital to the party's long-term governance and the country's enduring prosperity and stability. China is deliberating a new law to protect the fertile black soil in its northeastern provinces as part of the efforts to ensure the country's food security and protect the ecosystem. The draft was submitted for its first reading on Monday at an ongoing session of the country's top legislature. The black soil in Heilongjiang, Jilin, Liaoning, and Inner Mongolia produces about 1/4 of the country's total grain output, but years of overcultivation have eroded its nutrients, and the black soil there is thinning, which threatens the country's ecological security and sustainable agricultural development. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi has called on the United States to work with China for peaceful coexistence between the two countries. He made the remarks at the opening ceremony of a symposium on the international situation and China's diplomacy. He says both countries stand to gain from cooperation and lose from confrontation. The minister says this is the most important lesson learned from the exchanges between China and the United States over the past half-century. All 90 members of Hong Kong's 7th Legislative Council have been elected. This is the first election in the Special Administrative Region since improvements to the local electoral system were approved in May. Hong Kong Chief Executive Carrie Lam says the government hopes to work with members of the new Legislative Council to develop Hong Kong's economy and integrate the region into the overall development of the country. The new lawmakers will take office next month for a 4-year term. A white paper on the development of democracy in Hong Kong says the region must be governed by patriots only, released by China's State Council Information Office. The paper reviews the origin and development of democracy in the Special Administrative Region and the principles and position of the central government. The document points out that having Hong Kong patriots govern the city does not exclude people with different political views or ideas, nor does it suppress criticism of the government. The Ministry of Industry and Information Technology says China's annual COVID-19 vaccine production capacity has reached 7 billion doses. Nearly 2.7 billion doses have been administered on the Chinese mainland as of Sunday. Typhoon Rai that lashed the Philippines last week has caused 375 deaths in the country, while 56 more remain missing. Bohol, one of the hardest hit areas in the central Philippines, has confirmed 94 deaths. The country's disaster response agency says the typhoon's affected close to 1 million people and displaced over 442,000 residents. Gretchen Malalad reports.
Thousands of survivors are in dire need of food, drinking water, and materials to rebuild their homes. There are long lines at water refilling stations, and groceries are already without food. Thousands of military, police, Coast Guard, and fire personnel are being deployed to assist in the search and rescue efforts. The Philippine Coast Guard and Navy have started to dispatch their vessels filled with food, water, and medical supplies. Heavy equipments like backhoes and front-end loaders are also being sent to help clear roads blocked by fallen power poles and trees. Local governments severely affected by the typhoon are appealing for immediate help to the national government and the private sector. They are hoping that building materials and temporary shelters would be sent immediately so that the residents wouldn't spend Christmas under the rain.
The World Economic Forum says it'll defer its 2022 annual meeting from January to early summer. It says the meeting, scheduled to be held in Switzerland, is being postponed due to the continued uncertainty over the Omicron outbreak. China's taxation authority says live streamer Huang Wei, better known as Via, was fined over 1.3 billion yuan, or roughly $210 million for tax evasion. An official statement from the State Taxation Administration says the sum includes tax payments and overdue fines. Huang was found to have evaded 643 million yuan in tax by concealing her personal income and falsely declaring the nature of her income, while failing to pay 60 million yuan in other taxes. And that's the news. I'm Shane Bigham.